Good
I'm sorry, I'm
afternoon.
still mute. Good afternoon. I am so
So we're
happy. My camera has not. It's
Huh?
fine. My camera has not been working all week, so I'm happy that
Okay.
it's working today.
Yeah, we're in a bit of we're at a conference, so
Oh,
a bit in the car.
okay.
So we got two people wait. How's your day going?
It's going pretty good, pretty good. I have
Hmm.
resolved that some things will have to be postponed to next week because it's like Thursday and I can't make
Oh
more
yeah, this
hours
week
in a
is
day.
flying by.
hmm
Let me make you a co-host. That way you can share the screen if needed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna share a screen.
Okay. Let me live stream it to YouTube.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Hey, Tokiwa. I'm gonna unmute. I am looking crazy with my hair. It's raining here and I look crazy. So I'm like, I'm gonna mute my
First of
screen.
all, I am jealous of your full curls. Like my hair never looks like that dry.
Thank you. And it looked different. I went to my office and it just started to expand. And I was like, oh, it was expanding, but it started to expand even more. So
Because it's 100% humidity today, right?
it
And I
is
have to
pretty
drive
humid.
and I have to drive to Kennesaw, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start going at 3:30 because it's raining. I'd be there at 6, but I'd rather find a Starbucks and just chill than.
All
Yeah.
right. Let's see. All right, we'll probably give a couple more minutes.
Okay.
We can start at 1:05.
Okay. That's fine.
Thank you all for joining us today with the Sage Circle. We'll start at 1:05. Make sure everybody gets time to get on. And I'm sorry if you can't hear me, and it's raining and I'm in the car.
It's fine. Oh, yeah.
All right. You ready? So thank you for joining the Sage Circle today. We have Ms. Smith here with us today talking about celebrating joy yourself. And I'll let you have it. Thank you for taking the time out of the day to join us with our Sage Circle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Everybody's tuning in the South, I hope. If not, good time of day wherever you are. My name is Tokiwa Smith. I am a chemical engineer, a nonprofit founder and executive, and also a Wisdom Council member for the Southern Black Girls. And so I was so excited when Joy reached out to me and asked me to speak to the Sage Circle, because I wanted to talk about something that, like, a conversation that a lot of my sister friends and I have had over the pandemic, and realized that it's important for us to do things individual and a collective that brings us more joy, more peace, allows us to celebrate our wins, and just take some time to really not feel so rushed. We as Black women, and I, are taught to be the superwoman and center other people. And so in this discussion, it's going to be very informal and very interactive. We are going to talk about self-care, community care, and the importance of taking moments to celebrate your wins, the wins of other Black women around your circle, but also to take time to just pause, to rest, to experience joy, to experience fun and laughter, to do things that make you happy, to do things for leisure and fun. And so that is what our discussion is going to be about today. So I like quotes. And so I'm going to start with this quote that came in my IG feed yesterday, by Malik Tilly, I'm probably saying her name, but she's an entrepreneur. But she said this, and it spoke to me, like, I don't know, like God was speaking to me through IG. Every single choice that you make, every single thing that you accept, every single person you interact with, each of these are opportunities to show you that you love you. So is this whenever you're dealing with things, ask yourself, is this decision showing love to myself? Ask that every single time. And so before I go on, I just wanted us to take like 30 seconds, and you don't have to answer this. You can just jot it down. You don't have to share it with us because it's a very personal question. What are ways that you show you that you love you? If you want to share, you can. But this is very, it's a very personal question, and each of our journeys are individual. So maybe about 30 seconds to think about that and write that down. And I just share, for me, one of the things that is not too personal, that I can do, that I show me that I love me, is making sure that I spend time and energy on the things that align with my personal and professional goals. To me, it allows me to center myself, when often, as Black, when we're taught to think about others first or think about others just among ourselves, and it just helps me reduce burnout, because when I am doing things that align with the things I want to do, be personally and professionally, I'm less stressed. I don't have burnout. I feel like I am experiencing more joy. Does anyone have one that's not too personal that you may want to share on how you show you that you love you?
I can share. For me, exercise is one because that's
Mhm.
something that I have to intentionally choose to get up and do. But when I do actually do it, I feel so much better. And it's just super therapeutic for me. So exercise is one of the ways that I do that.
That's a good one. I'm trying to get back into it, but I'm not as consistent. Anyone else want to share before we go on to the next point thing?
I
I
can
share.
share.
Oh, you go, Abigail.
Okay. I can share. I think I've been doing better, trying to do better, making sure I watch what I eat, eating healthily, eat foods that make me feel good, not necessarily just eating out of emotion. And I'm a really big snacker, so making sure that I have healthy snacks on hand before I turn to all the other things that I can.
Mhm.
Mine kind of goes with the quote you said, Tokiwa. Just really being intentional with my time. You know, people say like you can tell where people's values lie with how they spend their money. But I really try to hope and trying to get my schedule to align with my personal goals
Mhm.
as well. I know you said professional, but for me, just really not trying to prioritize just professional things. Like I can bring my person to my profession and I can
Mhm.
also take work with me when I'm hanging with
Mhm.
my family and car. Just having time.
Mhm.
Yeah, just being very intentional because I know I've in the past, like work will take all the time. And then I'm like,
Mhm.
I missed this really big milestone in the family and supportive. And that support can just be shooting a text. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Let me give them 5 minutes on the phone. So just being very intentional with my time, as that quote said. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think that it is personal and professional, and some things are like strictly personal. Like I had a meeting before this, and it's with a funder, and they gave us a decent amount of money, and they wanted to meet next week, and I'm like, I gotta go to Macon for my cousin's graduation, and so it's one of those things that I think years past I would have been pressed to be like, how can I do both? Maybe I can meet with them early in the morning, but I don't want to do that. And so I'm just like, we gonna have to figure out another week because I have to do this, like you said, show up, be present personally, and as well. So I think it's that balance of, yes, our work is important, but also how do we honor those spaces where work does not matter, right? Like being present for ourselves and loved ones are really, really important. So those are all the really good things. And Abigail, I'm a snacker too. And I have good snacks and bad snacks. And I think I have eaten most of my bad snacks and just the good ones are left. And so, just us working in this sector, we know that as Black women, we experience, things that cause us trauma and pain as well as joy. And we do have to acknowledge that, like, sometimes that does prevent us from taking part in self-care and community care. And someone, like, I'll follow this therapy, like melanin and mental health. And they were saying how sometimes it isn't your self-care practices that are failure. It is just systemic racism that gets to you, right? And just how do we find the safe spaces and community care? And so, I just want to share my journey, how I kind of, the beauty of the pandemic for me was that it had this whole shift. I went back to therapy, worked through some stuff. And one of the main things that I got from therapy and then having those, that beautiful time in the pandemic where we all thought we could reimagine work and life, right? Is that it is okay to say no. It is okay to slow down. It is okay to prioritize our well-being, even though they're trying to act like we can't and go back to those shenanigans. But we can say no to those shenanigans. And so, one of the things that I have been really, really intentional about is focusing on self-care and community care, doing things that bring me joy, realizing that it is okay. Like, I tell people all the time, don't listen to people when they tell you to be humble, because the world tries to humble us as Black women all the time. I even told these little kids, somebody's like, be humble. I was like, don't listen to that grown up. Don't be humble. You did something amazing. Tell us, be proud, share. And I don't think that we get to embrace that enough, right? Because as Black women, we do all the things for other people, and like that's our default. And it is important for us to celebrate, acknowledge our greatness, acknowledge that we do great things, acknowledge that our humanity is women, right? And so I want you all to think about, I have one more quote and then I have another exercise. So oftentimes, and this is from Lucretia Holcomb, and I'm a quote person, so there are going to be a couple of more quotes. Like, oftentimes we congratulate resilience, but constantly overlooking weariness, discrimination, microaggressions, trauma, vicarious trauma, and personal obligations leads to holistic exhaustion and burnout. Self-care cannot outwork perpetual stress. Rest is necessary. And whatever that rest looks like for you, right? It could be, for me, it is shifting my schedule and taking Monday mornings off and Friday afternoons, and absolutely no work at all on Sunday, unless it's something fun like a Jack and Jill party, right? But really, Sunday is for me and my loved ones, and to take care of me. It could be as simple as, every day I have a check-in. And I know that I have some flexibility as an entrepreneur, but I also don't want you to think that if you work for someone else, you don't have that flexibility at all. You just have to figure out how you can make that happen. So for me, I have this theory that I have to be okay before I work on my project list. So I have this check-in saying, hey, are you okay today? Yes. If I say yes, I go with my day as planned. If I say no, I'm like, why aren't you okay? What's wrong? Are you not okay mentally? If so, what can you do? Do you need to journal? Do you need to do something else? Are you okay physically? All of those things. And if I have the space, I deal with, stop right then in that moment and get okay. If I don't have the space, I make a list of what I need to do to be okay and when I can work on those things. Because realistically, sometimes we can't stop our day, right? But we have to know, okay, at this moment, I'm gonna do what I need to do to be okay. And then the next thing I do, I think about, if I'm not okay, can I get back okay alone? Because sometimes, like, we just need the time to process things, to do things on our own. Or do I need help to get back okay? So does that help means, a therapy appointment? Does that help mean connecting with a friend that bring me joy? Does that connect, being okay means watching a TV show? Does that connect mean going to get some Mexican food or a crate, right? Like, does that connect, being okay means walking outside? Does that okay means calling out to a friend or relative and be like, I don't need any solutions. I don't need any chorus, any words from you. I just need you to listen because I'm not okay. And I need to admit to someone that I'm not okay. And so what we're going to do, and I did this exercise in the beginning of the year, I'm going to give you like 1 or 2 minutes to write down 3 to 5 words words that describe how do you want to feel most days. And I can give you an example as you start thinking. So for me, my words on how I wanted to feel most days this year were joyful, peaceful, and calm. And those are you on the chat. I am not ignoring you. I am just a Gen Xer and I can't talk and be in the chat. So continue to be in the chat. Like I was born in 78 and I'm in that hybrid where, you know, we can use technology, but we ain't kind of using it as much as some people born a few years after us. So do not take it personal. I am not ignoring you. I can just be present or I can be in the chat. But continue to make your comments and talk to each other in the chat. That's just my own flaw. Being a Gen Xer. And at the tail end where we, you know, had the technology, but isn't as integral in our lives as some
That's the
else.
Zennial, right? That makes us Zennials. Isn't that what they call us?
No, I don't know. I know that there is something like a special term for those who were born, I think they said 78 between 82. So I think we're that last tail, either the last set of Gen Xers and the first set of the Gen Millennials. So maybe it's yeah. Is that the term, Zennials?
That's what I heard, but I'm not sure of the years.
Okay.
It's a mix.
Yeah, I saw something
between-
that said 78 between 82, but I'm just looking at my niece and nephew and I'm just amazed. Like they started, like they can't even, I mean, I remember like
Came out with iPhones in their hand.
oh my goodness. Like my nephew is 6 and he can't really read. And so he was talking to the iPad. And I was like, why are you talking to the iPad? He was like, I don't know how to spell it. So it helps me find my YouTube videos. Like, what do you do? So does anyone want to share those 3 to 5 words? And once you share your words, I'm going to tell you like why those are important and things that I do with my words.
I'll share mine. I have calm, nourished, and rested.
Those are good ones.
The reason for that is, of course, I have had some challenges with anxiety in the past. And so, okay, calm. Nourished is that I've been on like a holistic wellness journey. And I want to, someone mentioned the snacking, and I'm also a snacker, but I want to I heard someone say, eat to live and not live to eat, or something crazy like that. I feel nourished. I want to be like, okay, I'm full. I don't need any more food. This is what's really going on, and try to work through that. And then rested is just, rest is like, that's the season I'm in. I was born in 77. And so I'm on that cusp too, but I'm like, these millennials know about the soft life. That wasn't for me, but I do want to be rested, well rested.
Mine were I want to feel content. I want to feel restored. I want to be purposeful, intentional. And yeah, the content part is one that I'm really focusing on these days, really, because like peace is inclusive in that, right? And it just being content, it helps me not compare myself to others, but really not even compare myself to where I think I should be, you know, giving myself that grace. Like if I am a deadline productive person, is like I needed to complete these tasks by the end of this week. But it's like, given that I had a migraine or I was on my cycle or this other thing came up that I need to attend to, like putting more context around why am I feeling this way? And just why are things happening the way that they are? So being content really and with myself and comparing myself currently to my old self, you know, and not doing that amongst others. So.
But you said a whole world, Erica, where we should be, right? Like literally, I was tired this morning and I was like, I need to finish these things by tomorrow, right? And I was like, all of these are fake deadlines. Like nothing is going to hurt because my brain can't work today. You know, like I can't do those things. And so really like where we should be, what we should do. I feel like sometimes that kills us more than the comparison to others, right? Because it's like this conversations that we have with ourselves. Anyone else want to share their words?
I can share mine. I just looked at how I'd like to feel and how some things that I'd be lacking nowadays, such as energy. So I would love to feel energetic most days, peaceful, balanced, grateful, and happy, which I know is relative, but yeah, I would like to be happy most days.
Well, happy is your own definition. So whatever that is to you, like some moments happy is like on a road trip and finding some banana annihilators, right? Like
right. It's super hard to define. Like it'll make me happy just finishing an assignment, you know. So just it changes with the day, depending on the day.
And I feel like it's not a destination, it's a journey that happens like moment by moment. Anyone else want to share?
Hi, my name is Cassandra. Oh, my apologies.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Cassandra. And my apologies, I did jump on a little late, but my words are empowered, centered, worthy, loved, peace, and grateful.
Those are
So
good words.
Whether that's peaceful or, you know, peaceable with others, just peace all around. Everybody, everything is at peace. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Bridget. I did hop on late as well, but my words are happy, healthy, and holy. I'm striving this year to keep it kind of focused, and I'm a former educator, so I love an alliteration, something to keep me on my toes and reminding to keep those three words at the forefront of what I do each and every day.
Okay, so I'm an engineer and I know that at some point in my career I learned what alliteration was, but I don't remember that. So for those who may not remember like me, what is that?
just starting a sentence or phrase with the same letter, like
Okay.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. That's an alliteration.
Okay.
Yeah.
I told my friend, I was like, I can't spell. I always need a proofreader and like, you know, whatever. But we all have our strengths. So anybody else want to share? Because I want to make space, you know. Okay.
I wanted to share.
Okay.
My words, I did the slash. So loved and loving, impactful and purposeful and peaceful. And yeah, I feel like someone else said earlier, sometimes I have bouts of anxiety and things like that. So I make my to-do list, but if I don't check off all things, I just ask myself, like, do I feel like I was impactful or purposeful today? And if I feel that way, then I feel good. Even if I didn't, and what I got done was what I got done, that's good too. So I try to give myself, I guess another word would be giving myself some grace, because I think oftentimes the world is hard on us, and sometimes we can double down and be just as hard, if not harder, on ourselves. So I'm also learning in this season to give myself some grace, and every day is not going to look the same, and that's okay.
And that is important too. Like every day is different. You know, I know some people thrive in routines and I don't, but like, even if you have a routine, like something can shift that and make the day different. So thank you, Abigail, for bringing up that point. Oh, I can see the chat. Yes, Erica, we give other people grace. And Cassandra, your hand is raised.
I don't know if everyone had a chance to go, but yeah, I love what she just said, because I always try to extend the same space and grace to others, you know, that I do for myself, or vice versa. Because sometimes we're more willing to give that space and grace to others, and we kind of leave ourselves out. And another point I wanted to bring up is I almost put productive in the chat, but I hate it when, like, I have a guy friend every day, you know, I hope you have a productive day. And I feel like he's forcing like his own stuff, like something on me. Like, what if I just want to kick back and eat Cheetos all day? That's my prerogative, you know? So just like, stop saying that to me. I hope, and then I'll respond like, I hope you have an amazing day, whether it's productive or not, you know, just have a great day. So yeah, I have a that's a pet peeve of mine. Thanks.
But you know, I think that part of it is us redefining what productive looks like. So I've been seeing a lot of things like rest is productive, because for me, I can't work unless I'm well rested. Like, I have to be well rested. I have to be in a good mental space. And so I think that, you know, part of it is like, we have to have our own definition of what productive is. And that's helpful. And so one of the reasons I wanted us to share the words, because this is like another check-in with ourselves. So for me, if I'm ever in a moment where I'm not feeling one of those words that I said I want to feel, you know, I do like an inventory and say, okay, let me do one thing before I say this. I heard somewhere that 70% of Black women have some form of anxiety. And I missed the rest of the podcast because I was just so like, that's a whole lot. And it's various reasons. You know, racism, you know, some of us like the thing that we're supposed to be the superwoman complex. But just being mindful that like anxiety is fine. It happens, but how do we work through it so we don't stay in an anxious state and it doesn't cripple us? And so what I do when I have my words, you know, I do a check-in with my emotions and how am I feeling, right? And so one day I was not feeling peaceful about some stuff. And I'm like, why am I not feeling peace? What has caused me to lose my peace? Who has caused me to lose my peace? And how can I get it back? And what can I do? One day I wasn't joyful about stuff and I was just sad. And I was like, girl, why you sad? Like, we gonna sit in this sadness because, you know, we can't ignore emotions. But why are you sad? And how can you get back to joy? Calm, the same thing as peaceful. Like, can you do anything about this situation? Are you not calm because you were dealing with trying to worry about something or someone that you had absolutely no control over? And so one of the reasons why I want us to think about those words on how we feel, because I know personally, I know everybody's not experienced, but I do know that in talking to my sister friends that we grew up different places, different part of the country, we as Black women aren't always modeled to how to identify and process our feelings. and make space for our feelings. You know, we're either told things like, you shouldn't feel that way, or nobody has time for feelings, or something recently, catch flights and not feelings. And it's like, we're human beings and we have feelings, but we also need to have this North Star standard equilibrium, for lack of a better term, because I'm a chemical engineer, on how we want to feel and what is our base. And if we're not there, acknowledge that we're not there, but then also try to get back to that, because that space is our happy space, is where we're centered, is where we experience joy. It is where we're at our best and our best versions of ourselves. Because one of the things I could tell, the commonality, and everybody said in their comments, the words describe who you want to be. And that isn't connected to your work. That isn't connected to what you do to anybody else. It is connected to how you want to move in this world as you, as a Black woman, personally and professionally. And so just remember that, keep in mind those words, write them somewhere. I wrote them in, I have 2 idea notebooks, one for my professional and one for my personal, because my mentor was like, you're more than your work. So some places, you just have some space where you need to dream and think about you. And in those things, I wrote in detail, how I wanted to fill those words, and what that looks like to me. Like, I'm a visual learner. So I wrote down, like, what does it feel for me to be calm? What does that look like? What are examples of calm, joy, and peaceful? And so that's something that if you want to do with your words, you can do at a later date. And so now we're going to go to celebrating our wins. And so I had this quote, and I put it in the Sister Nonprofit Network group last night, but the other day, it was saying that Black women are the best things to ever bless this planet. And I'm a firm believer of that. I feel like, even we look at how society will criticize us, saying, oh, that's ghetto, da da da. But then try to pay for our bodies, try to get our looks. And half the time it looks awful on them. I saw some TikTok video where this white girl tried to have a Bantu knot twist out, and it looked a whole mess. And it's like, look, the whole mess, because that ain't for you. A lot of people will try to invade our spaces, and act like we shouldn't have things just for ourselves. And so that's where we're going to get to, celebrating our wins and sharing our roses, smelling the roses. And so I want you to take a minute or so to define what is a win for you. Make sure that when you think about defining what the win is for you, that it's not all work. So a personal win for me is could be like reading this book, like I've been trying to read, right? Or being disciplined about not buying another book before I read the last book that I haven't read yet. So think about, what those are for you. And I'm going to give everybody like 2 minutes to think about those. No, I get you, Abigail. I have unread books that I bought on the Kindle and physical books. It's like, and library books, because I was like, let me do from the library so I won't spend money. Then I'm not finishing those. It's like, oh my gosh. Okay, the 3 words were describe 3 to 5 words were describing ways that you want to feel. Okay, so now we have our list of wins, right? So, can 1 or 2 people give examples of your win? What a win is to you?
Hello.
Hello.
So,
Oh, go. You go. Whoever was next.
no, you go.
Okay, I'll be quick. So my wins are like, you're right, Tokiwa, we do too much work and I'm guilty, but so it's the things that are truly carved out for me. So it's very simple. But I am single, like live alone. So it's easy for me to just go get food out to eat. I do it all the time. I'm eating some food right now that I DoorDash. But when I take the time and I can learn a recipe for my family, so I'm doing more intentional when I'm around my mom or sister, when they are cooking, instead of them cooking for me, I go spend time with them and watch and ask them how they do it. Also, learning too from my family and from YouTube tutorials, like how to do makeup. These are things that I easily just push aside. So cooking and doing beauty stuff. And I'm not even like beat by the guys, just like soft glam, working on that. And that makes me very happy. Those are my wins when I make time for things that I've always wanted to do that are completely focused on me.
Mhm. Okay, 1 more person.
I'll share mine. My wins are currently to lose 2 pounds by May 13th and then finish the semester with at least a 3.5. So
Okay. So now that we said our wins, what you gonna do to celebrate it, right? And how do you celebrate you in general? So for me, ways I celebrate, sometimes like I eat something that I enjoy eating. I mean, you just can't eat to live. Sometimes there is joy in food. And so I do that. Sometimes I connect with a friend because I believe like that's the joy of life and why we have our relationships, to celebrate with that. Yeah. So I take a day off sometimes to celebrate because I'm like, girl, you did a good job. Now sit still somewhere and do nothing. Anybody else want to share ways they celebrate themselves?
Sometimes I'll binge. I like black and white movies. I like old time shows. So I like binge on shows, or I also like the Audible books. So sometimes I'll just take 2 days to get through an Audible book or something like that. And definitely traveling. I'll take a trip if I can, if I can get away.
Anyone else? So my next question is, how do you celebrate a win? Well, 2 questions. And we just speaking in our relationships with other Black women right now, because that's the space we're in. how do you make sure that your sister friends or your children or your niece and nephews or your moms or aunties recognize their wins, right? Because we as Black women come move like, man, that's just what we do. That ain't nothing. And celebrate their wins with them.
I'm just gonna use a recent example. So I
Okay.
usually things will happen and I just like sweep them under the rug and just be like, okay, I'll just add it to my resume or my CV and keep it moving. But recently there's not Arthur, but I was featured an interview I did in a children's book. And I shared look, it's right next to me. I'm going to show y'all, but I'm also bringing Tokiwa in this. So don't worry, I got a hold. I'm circling it off back. So, oh man, it's blurred. Okay, whatever. It's a children's book that'll be in Target and Walmart and Barnes and Noble, all those things. But it's a picture of me because as scientists, typically we write things, we write papers, and our name's just Evie, and your name, and you just give it over it. But it's nice to have a picture, and I like science communication. I like students. I like science. Okay, and it's a micro book. But with that being said, I immediately was like, oh, I'll just keep it to myself. I was like, I'm gonna share it with people who I care about and who would be invested in this. So Tokiwa actually, who's leading this, is one of the people. I was like, I'm gonna share this with Tokiwa. So that was one in me celebrating myself, just sharing. And I didn't take it to online. I took it personal, maybe online one day in the future. But then Tokiwa not only text me back and said she support. I wasn't even looking for, I get no royalties from this. Tokiwa then purchased 5 of the books. So I just wanted to use an example of me not sweeping something under the rug and just adding it to my resume, me sharing it with someone I care about, and then that person then showing support.
I'm gonna need you to sign a book for my niece, though.
Well, dude,
this the Black woman in the book.
The Black, I'm trying to not have it blurred, and it's still blurred. But that's me. I know, y'all, my background is not unblurred. Like it cannot be unblurred.
Anyone else?
I think what she said is a huge point and a great way to celebrate, because we are so, like you said, we're so used to being humble. I have like a Black girls group, like a text group. We get in there and celebrate each other. So if somebody made the dean's list or somebody got featured in a magazine or something, someone else will post in the group like, "Whoa, look at this! Y'all, congratulations to so and so." So it's not necessarily the person getting in there and kind of tooting their own horn. Not that there's a problem with that, but it's just like we uplift each other and celebrate each other. So it's important to have spaces like that where it's safe to do that.
It is. And remind people, I hate when people like, women do this, women do this. I'm like, something's wrong with you and your network if there's jealousy and you can't share and there's man stealing like check yourself and y'all friends, because I got some like positive women around me. Like, we want that energy. We show love and support. Anyone else want to share like how you celebrate wins with others and let them recognize their wins?
So I have 2 daughters at Bennett College, the HBCU in North Carolina. And when they do something, I just go like crazy. And I do proud mom moments. And I would like put them all over the family chat and just like lift them up all over the place, because I'm just so proud and excited for them.
That is exciting. And so now we're going to start this final thing. Like, how do you smell the roses? I'm not a flower person, so I don't never smell the roses. But for me, that is, oh my goodness, the rain. Yeah, I need to leave soon. How do you take, for me, smelling the roses is making time for prioritizing my well-being, making time to do things I enjoy alone and with others, and doing having moments of joy, fun, laughter, and getting an opportunity to do things that feed my spirit, soul, or mind. And so we're going to just have like 1 or 2 minutes for you to think, like, how do you smell the roses? We take 1 more minute, and then anybody who wants to share can share. Okay. So, ladies, how do you all smell the roses?
I make time for doing the things I want to do, hanging out with girlfriends, making sure I am finding fun things in the city for myself and my family. I'm like, I schedule out vacations. Like I have my mom trips with my girlfriends. I'll have, one with my husband, one with the family, because travel just brings me joy in experiencing new places, especially new foods. So being able to carve out that time, I wasn't always very good at doing those things, especially when it came to myself. And after therapy and some like retrospection, I was like, yeah, I need to do things that's just for me, not for everyone else. So Fridays usually are my days when I drop the kids off from school, and then the rest of the day is mine until I need to either get them or do something else. But making sure that I have those times every week, and then scheduling bigger things out throughout the month and year.
That's good. The big things too, right? Mm-hmm. And being intentional, because there's always a reason not to take a trip, right? They're
It's
so
always
important.
But when I paid that money, I'm going to go.
Or also thinking like, oh, that's too much money. Says who? So maybe if it's more than you have right now, maybe you do the trip 6 months from now instead of next week, right? But it don't mean you can't do it ever, I have a big trip I want to do this life. Oh, I thought I could do it this year. I'm like, that's a 2024 trip, but we'll make it happen.
You just got to put it on the calendar and say, I'm going.
Need a little more planning. Anybody else want to share? Smelling the roses? How they smell the roses?
This may sound lame, but I actually like, I may not literally smell the roses, but I like being outside in nature. I really like going on hikes. I don't do it as often as I would like to, because especially if it's local, it takes a day. But lately I haven't been able to go to places in Georgia where I'm at. But when I travel for work, I'm very intentional about skidding, like going away. Like in a few weeks, I got to go to Germany for work. Well, guess what? I found a national park within 2 hours on a train ride. I'm going. Like I am going. So I am being outside makes me happy. It gives me away from people. I don't think about responsibilities. I got bad phone reception, so I cannot answer you. And I get to just play around and take really cool pictures and just really look at nature and look at species interaction. So it makes me really happy. It only costs usually $5 to get to a park. Some parks are for free. So makes me happy to be outside.
Yeah. And also, if you don't know how you will smell the roses, it is perfectly okay, because I feel like it is a reconditioning that we as Black women have to do. Like I know personally, it wasn't modeled for me and the women that raised me, because, you know, their life surrounded around work and family. It wasn't enough time or space, or nobody told them it was okay to think about themselves, right? And so I think that if you don't have a way to think about the roses already, it's okay. Like it's one of those things that, you know, we're constantly learning, unlearning, and healing. Like that's the journey. And we know different things as different versions of ourselves, right? And so at this version of yourself today, you may not know how to smell the roses, but the next version, as you go through unlearning, healing, learning, expanding your network, you may have some good ones that people will take from you. So extend yourself grace for where you are, and you're gonna figure it out, right? Like the next version of yourself gonna have some stuff that makes time for rest and fun and center yourself, you know. Yeah. So does anyone want to share before I have our closing quote? Okay, so I like quotes, and I am intentional about following like all the positivity on IG, and one of my favorite people to follow is someone called, her handle is the Heal Her. Okay, and sorry, I wrote down this quote, but I'm like, why my handwriting so sloppy? I can't even read my own handwriting. So give me a second to let me find it. But does anyone have any questions while I am looking for this quote? Okay. I found the quote, and it says, shifting into a peaceful, oh, this is alliteration. Thank you for who told me that. Shifting into a peaceful, purposeful, and prosperous season. And I wish that for you all.
Thank you. That was lovely. Hopefully you all learn how to stop and smell the roses for yourselves. I'm gonna step out in case you can't hear me. Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I learned a little something about myself to take some time for myself, because I tell you, this work can get overwhelming and we don't never have time for ourselves. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for creating this space for us. Like this Sage Circle is like awesome. Like even in the work,
Yes.
right? You are giving women this space to take like an hour to connect with other Black women. And sometimes that's just everything, right? Like,
Yes. It's like a mental health break during the day.
yes.
It's fresh of breath air. Well, thank you all for joining our stage circle. Next, I don't think Joy has the next month, but we will have it next month on the last Thursday of the month. Thank you all. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and we'll be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you. And all right, let's see. Joy couldn't join us today. She's actually on the road back to Atlanta.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about like the whole thing, and that's fine. But thank you so much. This was it helped.
Did you
me
enjoy
to-
it?
I did, because sometimes I'm at this space where I need the reminder sometimes too. So like the
Yeah.
past 3